the stillness of forgotten time, there is a throne untouched by mortal hands. It is not forged of stone, nor carved from gold, but woven from wisdom and eternal light. Legends whisper that it rests in a realm beyond sight, where silence carries the voice of gods. This is the eternal spear throne of Athena, a seat not of power, but of truth and clarity. Those who seek it do not march with armies, nor raise banners, but walk with questions in their hearts. It is said that the throne listens to every seeker, measuring not strength, but the purity of intent. Its light glows softly, like dawn over calm waters, revealing pathways hidden in shadow. The spear beside it hums with quiet resonance, a guide more than a weapon, a compass of the soul. Every tale begins with a whisper, a calling, a gentle spark that awakens the longing to know. And so we begin a journey not of conquest, but of discovery, where wisdom is the greatest prize. Let the stars above guide us. Let the earth below remind us. Let Athena's spirit walk beside us. The story of the throne begins now, in a world where myth breathes and silence speaks. Legends are born not in thunder, but in whispers that drift like smoke across endless skies. The first whisper comes as a question, soft as dawn, searching for a listener ready to believe. It speaks of a throne that cannot be seen by the eye, yet glows within the silence of the heart. This throne is called eternal, not because of stone or metal, but because wisdom does not fade. The throne belongs to Athena, goddess of clarity and thought, keeper of truth beyond the veil. Her spear rests beside it, not sharp with battle, but bright with insight, guiding those who seek. The path toward it begins not with maps or roads, but with the courage to follow unseen signs. Travelers who hear the whisper often wonder if it is real or only the echo of a dream. Yet the voice returns again, steady and patient, until the seeker answers with quiet resolve. The journey does not call to warriors, nor to rulers, but to the humble who ask with honesty. For the throne measures not power or wealth, but the intention carried deep within the soul. It is said that when one sets out in truth, the world itself bends gently to show the way. Winds shift, stars align, waters shimmer with light, each step leading toward the hidden realm. But the way is never forced. The seeker must walk freely, choosing faith over fear. Those who doubt too loudly lose the whisper, like a candle lost in the roar of the storm. Yet those who listen with patience find the voice growing clearer, like dawn breaking in mist. The legend tells of gates woven not of iron, but of silence that parts for the worthy. To pass, one must carry no weapons of harm, but only the courage to stand unguarded. The spear of Athena waits, humming softly in its eternal song, a beacon to the pure of heart. This hum cannot be heard by ears alone, but felt in the stillness of one's breathing. It is the rhythm of truth, the sound of thoughts aligning, the melody of clarity itself. Every seeker must first endure the quiet, where no answers come, and patience is the test. Some falter, mistaking silence for emptiness, turning back to the noise of the world. But those who remain discover that silence speaks, carrying wisdom hidden in its depth. The throne calls not with command, but with invitation, soft and unending as a tide. Its promise is not of crowns or kingdoms, but a vision that sees beyond illusion. For in the presence of the throne, falsehood dissolves like shadow touched by light. The seeker learns that truth is not a weapon to strike, but a lamp to guide the lost. Legends say that those who reach the throne do not return as rulers, but as listeners. They carry not power, but clarity offering gentle strength to a world clouded in noise. The whisper grows into a story, passed through generations, shaping dreamers and wanderers. Each teller adds no glory of war, no clash of blades, only the reminder of quiet truth. And so the path remains, unseen yet eternal, waiting for each heart brave enough to begin. The throne stands still, untouched by time, surrounded by light woven from thought and memory. Athena watches not with judgment, but with calm, ready to guide those who seek in honesty. Her spear gleams beside her, eternal and luminous, pointing always toward wisdom's way. This is the legend of the beginning, the whisper that stirs a journey no map can trace. It begins not with a step upon soil, but with the first spark of wonder in a seeker's mind. The story of the eternal spear throne lives, waiting in the silence, waiting in the heart. The whisper does not vanish after the first night. It lingers like a star that refuses to fade. It returns in dreams, soft and steady, a reminder that the path has already begun within. The seeker wakes each morning with a feeling of being called, though no one speaks their name. It is the oracle of old, forgotten by most, yet alive in the quiet corners of the spirit. The oracle does not shout with thunder or fire, but speaks through riddles softer than rain. Its words are not commands, but questions, planting seeds of wonder in the listener's mind. One evening, as the world sinks into twilight, the seeker hears the oracle more clearly. The voice is gentle, woven with warmth, carrying echoes of countless ages long past. It speaks of a journey across lands where stars guide and shadows teach in silence. The oracle describes a realm hidden between breaths, where Athena's throne still shines. Its language is poetry, painting pictures of light rising over seas that shimmer silver. The seeker listens, heart trembling not with fear, but with an ache of recognition. It feels less like discovery, more like remembrance, as though the path was always known. The oracle asks no oath, no vow, but offers a question. Do you dare to listen deeper? The seeker feels the question settle, heavy and luminous, a weight made only of truth. In the stillness, a choice forms, not to conquer, but to follow the call with open heart. The oracle continues, telling of 3 signs that will mark the beginning of the path. The first is the flicker of light in water where no sun should shine, a reflection of truth. The second is the song of an unseen bird, reminding the seeker to trust the unheard. The third is silence deeper than night, a silence that holds more voices than words. Each sign, the oracle explains, is not given from outside, but born within the soul. The seeker must learn to notice, to listen, to trust the soft messages hidden in plain sight. Days pass, and each word of the oracle lingers, reshaping how the seeker sees the world. Shadows feel less empty, waters seem to shimmer with hidden sparks, silence grows alive. One night, under a sky thick with stars, the oracle returns with a final riddle. Not every road is seen, not every door is built, yet every step leads where the heart points. The seeker holds these words like a lantern, fragile and glowing, a guide for the unknown. There is no fear of failure, for the oracle reminds that even wandering is part of the way. Each question asked is itself a step. Each wonder felt is already a journey begun. The seeker begins to understand. The throne is not waiting far away, but also within. Yet the path outward must still be walked, for truth must be sought both inside and beyond. The oracle tells of those who once walked before, seekers who became listeners. Their voices are now woven into the whisper, guiding the next to take the journey. The seeker feels a kinship with those unseen companions, bound by the thread of wonder. No map unfolds, no stone markers rise, only the oracle's quiet presence in the night. And yet, that is enough. For clarity does not need roads, only trust in the unseen. The seeker rests, heart steady, carrying the oracle's riddles like constellations in the mind. Each word shines, each pause glimmers, forming patterns that point toward Athena's realm. Morning arrives, and though the world looks unchanged, the seeker knows it is different. Every breeze feels like guidance, every ripple a message, every silence a teacher. The oracle fades with the dawn, but not in loss, rather as a flame passed into the seeker. It is not gone, but alive within, waiting to rise again when the night grows still. The seeker whispers a promise, not to force, not to demand, but simply to follow. For the oracle's gift is not certainty, but the courage to live within the mystery. Thus begins the true journey, where riddles replace maps and whispers become companions. And the eternal spear throne waits, luminous beyond sight, calling in silence and in song. The journey leads the seeker to the edge of a vast sea, shimmering as if stars had spilled upon the waves. It is called the Sea of Silver Tides, where water glows softly, even under the darkest night sky. No boat waits at the shore. No bridge spans the horizon, only the endless rhythm of moving water. The seeker hesitates, for the sea is wide and deep, yet the whisper urges patience and trust. A single ripple touches the shore, brighter than the rest, as though beckoning the first step. The seeker places a hand in the water, expecting cold, but finds instead warmth like sunlight. The tide glows brighter where it touches, forming a path that shimmers, then fades into distance. It is not a solid road, but a shifting trail, one that demands courage with every step. The oracle's riddle returns in memory. Not every road is seen, not every door is built. The seeker breathes deeply, then steps forward, feet sinking slightly, yet held by the gentle tide. The sea does not fight, it carries, lifting with currents that flow both within and without. Each step feels uncertain, yet the glow beneath grows steadier, shaping a way across the waves. The seeker walks not quickly, but carefully, learning that haste only breaks the rhythm of water. The tide responds to calm, holding steady when the heart is steady, faltering when the heart doubts. The seeker realizes the sea is not an obstacle, but a mirror, reflecting the state within. Moments of fear make the water ripple wild, while moments of trust calm the shining path. The lesson becomes clear. Clarity of spirit creates clarity of journey across the silver tides. The stars above shimmer brighter, as though guiding, their reflections weaving with the glowing path. At times the seeker feels lost, for the horizon stretches endlessly, yet the sea sings in silence. The song is not heard by the ear, but felt in the chest, steady like a heartbeat of the world. It teaches that every wave is a question, every ripple an answer, flowing together in harmony. The seeker begins to walk with rhythm, in tune with the tides, guided by unseen currents. Hours, perhaps days, pass unnoticed, for time loses meaning upon a sea made of silver light. The seeker drinks from cupped hands, and the water tastes of clarity, cool and sustaining. It is not hunger or thirst that tests the seeker, but the patience to trust without end. On the third night, the sea gives a vision rising from its glowing surface. Shapes of travelers past appear, their outlines woven from light, walking across the tides. They do not speak, but their presence offers comfort, proof that the path has been walked before. Each figure bows gently to the seeker, then dissolves back into rippling silver waves. The seeker feels both humbled and uplifted, part of a story larger than any single life. The tides respond, glowing brighter, as though honoring the quiet courage of continuing forward. The path widens slightly, steady beneath the seeker's steps, a sign of harmony taking root. At the far horizon, a soft glow appears, different from stars, warmer than moonlight. It is the promise of shore, though faint and distant, calling like a beacon of hope. The seeker does not rush, but walks with calm, knowing the journey is as sacred as arrival. At dawn, when sky and sea blend into silver fire, the shore finally reveals itself. It is not loud or grand, but quiet, lined with pale sand that glows like pearl. The sea withdraws gently, as if bowing, leaving the seeker upon firm ground once more. The whisper returns, soft as always. Patience carried you. Trust guided you. Balance kept you. The seeker gazes back at the endless tides, shimmering with eternal light, now at peace. The lesson of the sea of silver tides remains. Clarity within shapes the world without. The throne of Athena is still far. Yet the seeker knows each step has already begun the arrival. The seeker steps onto the new shore, where pale sand glows faintly as though kissed by forgotten stars. Ahead lies a forest, dense and quiet, each tree rising tall like pillars in a temple of silence. The air is heavy with echoes, soft murmurs that drift between branches like threads of memory. This is the island of echoes, a place where voices of past travelers linger beyond their journeys. No creature moves, no leaves stir, yet the air vibrates with countless whispers layered together. The seeker listens closely, realizing these are not haunting cries, but gentle lessons carried by air. Every whisper is a story, a fragment of a life once lived, a moment preserved in timeless sound. Some voices speak of wonder, others of fear overcome, many of choices that shape their paths. They are not warnings, but reflections, like rivers carrying images of those who walked before. The seeker walks carefully, each step stirring faint echoes rising from the roots of the earth. One voice rises above the rest, calm and steady, telling of patience as the greatest strength. Another whispers of humility, reminding that no wisdom enters a closed heart. A third speaks of mistakes, not as chains, but as lanterns to light new decisions. The seeker pauses, touched by the harmony of voices, each forming part of a greater truth. It feels less like wandering a forest and more like walking through the library of souls. Every word lingers in the air before sinking softly back into the silence between trees. The seeker begins to notice how the forest mirrors thought, brighter when the heart is calm. When doubt creeps in, the echoes grow faint. But when trust returns, they sing more clearly. It becomes clear that the island of echoes does not judge. It only reflects what one carries. The seeker understands. To hear others, one must first quiet the storm within the self. Deeper into the forest, the whispers weave together into something like a single voice. It does not speak in sentences, but in harmony, a chorus that fills the air with meaning. The sound carries no command, only an invitation to listen without needing to reply. The seeker closes their eyes, letting the chorus wash over them like gentle rain. Memories surface, their own echoes, moments of choice, kindness, and hesitation. The forest responds, amplifying not with scorn, but with understanding, weaving them into the song. The seeker realizes the island holds not only others' voices, but also their own reflected back. It is a place where truth cannot hide, for every thought becomes sound in the chorus of echoes. This is not punishment, but gift, allowing one to hear themselves as others might hear. The seeker bows their head, humbled by the clarity of hearing their heart without disguise. For the first time, silence follows, deep and complete, as though the forest is waiting. The seeker speaks aloud, voice trembling yet honest. I walk not for glory, but for truth. The words fall into the still air, then return, clear and gentle, carried by countless voices. The echoes repeat them, weaving them into the chorus until the whole forest speaks the vow. It is not binding, but affirming, like a star added to a constellation already glowing. The seeker feels lighter, as though a burden of doubt has been lifted by unseen hands. The whispers grow soft, returning once more to their quiet flow through branches and roots. At the edge of the forest, the trees part, revealing a path glowing faintly with silver dust. The seeker understands this path is given as a gift, shaped by listening and honesty. Turning once more, they bow to the island, grateful for voices that shared without demand. For the lesson is eternal. To hear the wisdom of others, one must first learn to listen. And as the seeker steps beyond the forest, the whispers fade, but their harmony remains within. The journey continues, guided not by force, but by the quiet strength of remembered voices. The seeker follows the silver-lit path, leaving the whispers of the island of echoes behind. Ahead lies a valley shrouded in mist, where the air feels heavy, like breath held too long. Here, mountains rise like guardians, their peaks hidden in shifting clouds that glow faintly. This is the Valley of Shadows, not of fear, but of memory, where light bends around unseen truths. The seeker steps carefully, each footfall sounding louder than it should in the muffled air. The mist thickens, shaping itself into faint outlines, figures made of light and shadow combined. They do not speak, but their presence lingers, familiar, as though drawn from the seeker's own past. One figure is warm, carrying echoes of laughter once shared under an open sky. Another figure feels heavier, carrying silence, the weight of a choice left unresolved. The seeker realizes these are not strangers, but reflections of people whose lives touch their own. They are memories given form, walking quietly through the valley, neither accusing nor praising. The seeker feels both comfort and unease, knowing the valley reveals not only truth, but attachment. It becomes clear that this place does not test strength, but the willingness to see with honesty. The mist swirls again, and new figures form. Moments of kindness, once forgotten, now glowing gently. A small act, once overlooked, shines brighter than grand efforts lost to time. The seeker smiles softly, realizing even the smallest gesture lives on in this valley of memory. Yet alongside the warmth come heavier shapes, formed from words not spoken when they should have been. These figures stand in silence, their absence speaking more loudly than any sound could. The seeker feels a pang, but no anger, only understanding that choices always leave echoes. The valley holds nothing in judgment. It only reflects what remains unspoken in the heart. To walk here is to accept that every life carries shadows, but also light woven between them. The seeker bows their head, breathing deeply, letting both the warmth and the weight be acknowledged. In the quiet, a path appears, lined with glowing stones that pulse softly, like heartbeats. The seeker follows, each step bringing clarity, the mist parting to reveal higher ground. The valley does not fade, but grows lighter, as if the shadows themselves are lifting gently. At the summit, the seeker turns back, gazing at the valley below, now bathed in pale gold. The figures are still there, but smaller, blending into the light, becoming part of the landscape. The seeker understands. Memory is not to chain the soul, but to guide the steps forward. Every person met, every choice made, remains part of the journey, carried but not weighted. The valley has given no answers, only mirrors. But the mirrors hold truths worth carrying. With gratitude, the seeker bows once more, whispering thanks to the shadows and the light. The mist rises higher, folding into the clouds, opening a clear sky above the mountains. Birdsong breaks the silence, faint but steady, guiding the seeker toward the next horizon. And as the seeker descends the far slope, the valley lingers in memory, gentle and eternal. The journey moves onward, but the lessons of shadow and light walk quietly beside them. The seeker descends from the valley, where gold light fades into soft twilight over rolling plains. Before them stretches a vast field, endless, dotted with tall grasses that sway like waves of the sea. The horizon blurs and the air shimmers, as if time itself moves differently in this quiet place. This is the plane of reflection, where the past and present walk side by side like shadows at dusk. The seeker feels no urgency, only the weight of stillness pressing gently against every breath. Here, the earth seems to listen, waiting for truths carried within the heart to surface. The grasses whisper faintly, bending in patterns that mirror the rhythm of thought and memory. As the seeker walks, each step brings forth visions, rising softly from the plain like mist. At first they are small, images of childhood, a smile once given, a promise once broken. They hover, delicate as dew, shimmering for a moment before fading back into the air. The seeker pauses, realizing the plain does not create illusions, but reveals what already dwells within. The past is not gone. It flows like an underground river, surfacing where stillness allows it to rise. The seeker continues, and the visions grow larger, unfolding like pages of a long-forgotten book. There is joy here. Moments of kindness received, gestures of trust that shaped hidden strength. But there is also sorrow, words spoken in haste, steps taken away when they should have stayed. Each memory lingers, neither condemning nor excusing, but simply existing as truth. The seeker's heart feels both heavy and light, filled with the fullness of life's tapestry. A soft wind rises, carrying the scent of earth, guiding the seeker toward the center of the plain. There the grass bends outward, forming a wide circle, open to the sky and stars above. In the circle, the air grows still, and the seeker feels the presence of something greater. It is not a figure nor a voice, but a deep quiet that hums with meaning. The seeker sits within the circle, closing their eyes, allowing the visions to come freely. One by one, memories pass. A hand held in comfort, a choice made in fear, a silence kept too long. The plain holds them gently, neither erasing nor glorifying, but reminding that they all belong. The seeker realizes that wisdom does not come from forgetting, but from remembering with clarity. Even mistakes become teachers, and sorrows become bridges to greater compassion. The seeker breathes deeply, releasing resistance, letting each vision pass like a cloud in the sky. Slowly, the circle fills with light, soft and golden, as if dawn is breaking within the heart itself. The plain responds, grasses swaying in unison, as though bowing in silent acknowledgement. The seeker opens their eyes, finding the world clearer, as if veils have been lifted from sight. The horizon no longer blurs, but stretches vast and steady, leading toward the unknown. In this stillness, the seeker whispers a vow, not to deny the past, but to walk forward with it. The words carry across the plain, blending with the wind, absorbed into the rhythm of the earth. No reply comes, yet the seeker feels heard, as though the land itself has accepted the promise. Rising, they step out of the circle, each movement lighter, carrying less burden than before. The plain remains vast behind them, but its gift lingers, clarity born of reflection. The seeker walks on, guided by the stars now burning brighter above the open sky. For in the plane of reflection, they have learned that truth does not silence the past. It allows the past to speak, and in listening, the seeker has found strength for what lies ahead. The seeker moves beyond the plane of reflection, where the stars blaze brighter in the vast sky. Ahead lies a great river, its waters wide and gleaming as though woven from strands of moonlight. The air is cool, carrying the scent of stone and water, steady and eternal in its rhythm. This is the river of time, where every current carries the memory of all that has ever been. Its flow is unbroken, never hurried, yet never stopping, a song that speaks of endless becoming. The seeker steps to its edge, where the pebbles shimmer as if kissed by light from within. Looking into the river, they see not a reflection of their face, but countless shifting images. Moments flicker across the surface, beginnings, endings, and the spaces in between them. The seeker kneels, mesmerized, realizing the river does not divide past and future. It carries them together, flowing as one, like threads woven into a single tapestry. Each ripple reveals a choice once made, a path once taken, now blending into greater harmony. The seeker feels awe, but also humility, sensing the vastness of what the river remembers. Reaching out, they touch the water, which feels cool yet alive, humming softly beneath the skin. At once, visions rush upward, not in chaos, but in a pattern too grand to grasp at once. The seeker sees ancestors walking before them, their steps steady, their choices shaping the path. They see strangers, lives unknown, yet connected by invisible threads across the river's span. Even future echoes appear, faint and fragile, like dawn just before the sun has risen. The seeker withdraws their hand, heart steady, knowing the river reveals without demand. It does not command action. It only reminds that every step is part of a larger flow. Sitting at the edge, the seeker listens to the river's song, steady, endless, and whole. It whispers that time is not a cage, but a current, carrying all into the sea of eternity. To fear its flow is to miss its gift. To accept it is to walk in harmony with what is. The seeker bows, offering silent thanks, for the river has shown them the thread of belonging. Rising, they notice a bridge forming across the current, woven not of wood or stone. It is made of light, arching gently, glowing as if born from the river's own heart. The seeker steps onto it, feeling no weight, as though walking upon pure memory. Each step brings forth gentle visions, moments of laughter, tears, courage, and silence. They come not as burdens, but as companions, reminders that nothing is ever truly lost. At the bridge's center, the seeker pauses, gazing down at the water's luminous depths. There is no beginning, no end, only the eternal flow carrying all voices together. The seeker feels both small and infinite, a single ripple and yet part of the whole river. The light beneath their feet pulses once, as though affirming their place in the flow. The seeker breathes deeply, accepting the truth. They are not outside of time, but within it. Crossing to the far bank, the bridge dissolves gently, returning to the river's current. The seeker looks back one last time, watching the moonlight dance upon the flowing water. The song of the river remains, steady and eternal, echoing softly in the heart. Ahead, the path continues, rising into hills where dawn begins to glow faintly. The seeker walks on, carrying the river's lesson, that every moment belongs, every choice flows. For the river of time has no judgment, only truth, and in truth, the seeker finds peace. The seeker moves beyond the plane of reflection, where the stars blaze brighter in the vast sky. Ahead lies a great river, its waters wide and gleaming as though woven from strands of moonlight. The air is cool, carrying the scent of stone and water, steady and eternal in its rhythm. This is the river of time, where every current carries the memory of all that has ever been. Its flow is unbroken, never hurried, yet never stopping, a song that speaks of endless becoming. The seeker steps to its edge, where the pebbles shimmer as if kissed by light from within. Looking into the river, they see not a reflection of their face, but countless shifting images. Moments flicker across the surface, beginnings, endings, and the spaces in between them. The seeker kneels, mesmerized, realizing the river does not divide past and future. It carries them together, flowing as one, like threads woven into a single tapestry. Each ripple reveals a choice once made, a path once taken, now blending into greater harmony. The seeker feels awe, but also humility, sensing the vastness of what the river remembers. Reaching out, they touch the water, which feels cool yet alive, humming softly beneath the skin. At once, visions rush upward, not in chaos, but in a pattern too grand to grasp at once. The seeker sees ancestors walking before them, their steps steady, their choices shaping the path. They see strangers, lives unknown, yet connected by invisible threads across the river's span. Even future echoes appear, faint and fragile, like dawn just before the sun has risen. The seeker withdraws their hand, heart steady, knowing the river reveals without demand. It does not command action. It only reminds that every step is part of a larger flow. Sitting at the edge, the seeker listens to the river's song, steady, endless, and whole. It whispers that time is not a cage, but a current, carrying all into the sea of eternity. To fear its flow is to miss its gift. To accept it is to walk in harmony with what is. The seeker bows, offering silent thanks, for the river has shown them the thread of belonging. Rising, they notice a bridge forming across the current, woven not of wood or stone. It is made of light, arching gently, glowing as if born from the river's own heart. The seeker steps onto it, feeling no weight, as though walking upon pure memory. Each step brings forth gentle visions, moments of laughter, tears, courage, and silence. They come not as burdens, but as companions, reminders that nothing is ever truly lost. At the bridge's center, the seeker pauses, gazing down at the water's luminous depths. There is no beginning, no end, only the eternal flow carrying all voices together. The seeker feels both small and infinite, a single ripple, and yet part of the whole river. The light beneath their feet pulses once, as though affirming their place in the flow. The seeker breathes deeply, accepting the truth. They are not outside of time, but within it. Crossing to the far bank, the bridge dissolves gently, returning to the river's current. The seeker looks back one last time, watching the moonlight dance upon the flowing water. The song of the river remains, steady and eternal, echoing softly in the heart. Ahead, the path continues, rising into hills where dawn begins to glow faintly. The seeker walks on, carrying the river's lesson, that every moment belongs, every choice flows. For the river of time has no judgment, only truth. And in truth, the seeker finds peace. The seeker ascends higher into the mountains, where the air grows thin and the sky expands like an endless ocean. Snow dusts the peaks, yet the cold carries not pain, but a clarity that sharpens every breath. This is the sanctuary of winds, where the voices of air weave together in eternal song. The seeker feels the currents swirl gently, each breeze carrying tones like strings of an unseen harp. Every gust seems alive, whispering wisdom gathered from across oceans, valleys, and deserts. The seeker closes their eyes, listening, realizing the wind is not empty, but filled with countless stories. It speaks of journeys undertaken, of hearts brave enough to rise against fear, and of gentle resilience. Sometimes it hums low, steady and grounding, like the calm voice of an elder. At other times it sings high, bright and playful, like the laughter of children chasing clouds. The seeker stretches out their hands, feeling each current brush like threads of invisible silk. Every movement of the air feels like a guide, nudging them forward, yet never forcing. At the mountain's crest stands a ring of stones, weathered, yet humming with the same resonance. Here the winds gather, circling as though drawn to a center where silence waits. The seeker steps within, and at once the winds lift, spiraling upward in radiant harmony. They do not scatter, but form a spiral of sound, surrounding the seeker like a living song. In the center, stillness descends, though the air dances all around, weaving rhythm and meaning. The seeker understands that the sanctuary is not about conquest, but attunement. To walk with the wind is to release control, to trust the unseen currents that carry life forward. The winds swirl faster, and visions form within them, carved not of water or fire, but of pure air. The seeker sees countless travelers, each standing where they stand now, listening with reverence. Some bowed, some laughed, some wept, yet all left lighter, touched by the harmony of sky. The winds whisper one, truth. Wisdom is not carried by weight, but by freedom. To hold tightly is to block the flow. To release is to gain strength beyond measure. The seeker breathes deeply, letting the air fill every part of their being, carrying doubt away. Each exhale releases not only breath, but burdens that had lingered silently for years. The song of the winds rises, not chaotic, but layered, like voices in a choir without end. It does not praise nor condemn. It simply is, vast as the sky and soft as a sigh. The seeker bows, whispering thanks, words carried instantly into the circling air. The winds respond not with words, but with a sudden calm, a pause filled with quiet grace. In that moment, the seeker feels as though embraced by something endless and kind. They realize the winds will always carry them, whether they feel it or not, unseen but present. The sanctuary fades slowly as the currents scatter, leaving only soft breezes over the stones. The seeker steps out of the circle, heart filled with a lightness new and profound. The mountains no longer seem steep or cold, but alive, breathing with them in harmony. Looking ahead, the seeker sees a narrow trail winding toward distant golden light. The winds push gently at their back, urging them onward with playful encouragement. Every step feels steady now, guided by unseen hands of air, trusted without hesitation. The seeker carries the lesson within. Strength lies not in control, but in surrender to flow. And so they move forward, accompanied by the endless song of the winds, eternal and free. The seeker descends into a valley bathed in golden twilight, where the earth hums with a rhythm deep and steady. This is the Grove of Echoes, where every sound spoken returns not once, but layered with unseen wisdom. The trees rise tall, their branches interwoven like ancient hands holding the sky in patient reverence. Each trunk glows faintly, etched with patterns that shift like memory alive upon living bark. The seeker steps softly, and the ground answers with a subtle tone, like a drum of hidden depths. Every footstep resonates, sending ripples outward that return in notes both familiar and strange. The seeker whispers a word, and the grove replies, the echo longer, richer, filled with harmony. It is as if the forest remembers not only sound, but the intention carried within each voice. A bird calls overhead, and its cry expands, layered into a chorus of voices spanning generations. The seeker pauses, realizing this is no ordinary place, but a living chamber of listening. Here, nothing is forgotten, not the softest sigh, nor the most fleeting laughter under the stars. The echoes weave together, forming a tapestry of all who have passed, loved, dreamed, and spoken. The seeker feels humbled, their own voice suddenly small, yet honored to join such a chorus. Sitting upon a stone, they listen, letting the grove speak through the language of sound. Whispers of travelers long gone return, speaking of courage, loss, patience, and tender joy. One echo repeats softly, carrying the phrase, "Every word carries a seed. Choose what you plant." Another follows, rich and warm. Silence is not emptiness, but the soil where wisdom grows. The seeker closes their eyes, letting these words settle into their heart like gentle rain. The grove shifts as if acknowledging the seeker's stillness, leaves rustling in deep agreement. Suddenly, the echoes begin to converge, swirling toward the center of the grove in waves. They form not chaos, but a harmony that builds like a song composed by countless unseen voices. The seeker rises, drawn toward the center where an ancient oak stands taller than all others. Its roots spread wide, glowing softly, pulsing with the rhythm of earth and sound entwined. Placing their hand upon the bark, the seeker feels the tree vibrating with countless echoes. Each note carries the presence of lives, woven not into separate songs, but into one great harmony. The seeker feels tears rise, not of sorrow, but of recognition, as if meeting a forgotten truth. They realize the grove does not merely repeat, it transforms, returning sound as wisdom greater. What is offered returns refined, shaped by the countless voices that came before. The seeker whispers a prayer of gratitude, voice trembling yet clear, carried into the branches. The oak absorbs the sound, and a deep echo returns, soft yet vast, filling the entire grove. It is not words, but a resonance, telling the seeker they are part of something endless. The lesson settles. Words matter, but so does silence. Sound matters, but so does listening. The seeker bows, acknowledging the balance, heart lighter with each passing breath. The grove quiets, though the echoes never fade, like stars still shining behind the day. When the seeker steps away, the ground hums softly, a farewell and a promise intertwined. The trees shimmer faintly, their patterns shifting as if smiling in gratitude for being heard. The seeker exits the grove, carrying not only echoes, but the wisdom of deep listening. Ahead, the horizon glows with the first light of dawn, signaling a new chapter waiting. The air is still, yet filled with presence, as though the grove's song follows unseen. The seeker walks forward, steady, knowing that every word and silence shapes the path. And so the grove of echoes fades behind, but its lesson endures, eternal within the heart. The seeker arrives at the summit where sky and earth merge, a horizon stretching beyond sight or measure. Here stands the throne of Athena, carved not of stone, but of luminous energy woven from truth. It shimmers with spears of light, not weapons, but symbols of wisdom sharpened by clarity. The air is hushed, as though the universe itself leans forward to listen to what unfolds. The seeker steps forward, heart steady, carrying lessons from river, wind, grove, and silence. Each step feels lighter, as though guided not by will alone, but by the harmony within. At the throne's base, the seeker kneels, not in surrender, but in reverence for what is greater. The throne glows brighter, its light weaving into the form of a spear rising toward the stars. It is eternal, not bound by time, but by truth, carrying no sharpness except clarity itself. The seeker reaches out, hand trembling, and touches the luminous spear with quiet grace. At once, visions unfold, not battles, but the weaving of choices into the fabric of being. They see every moment of doubt shaping courage, every silence deepening understanding. They see countless lives, each carrying sparks of wisdom that join into a vast constellation. The throne whispers without words, a truth that resonates deeper than sound or thought. Wisdom is not claimed. It is shared, not possessed, but lived in every breath and step. The seeker breathes deeply, letting the spear's light enter them, not as power, but as clarity. Their heart expands, no longer heavy with seeking, but filled with the joy of belonging. They understand now. The throne is not a seat to claim, but a reminder of eternal balance. It belongs to no one, yet welcomes all who walk with courage, humility, and open hands. The seeker bows, not for approval, but in gratitude for the journey that has brought them here. The throne pulses once, as if in acknowledgement, before settling into still radiance. The light spreads outward, not fading, but joining the dawn that breaks across the horizon. The seeker rises, standing taller, carrying the wisdom not as a burden, but as a gift. They look outward, where valleys, rivers, winds, and groves stretch in endless beauty. The journey has no end, only new steps, each carrying the rhythm of what was learned. The seeker begins walking down, every step steady, every breath filled with quiet peace. The throne of Athena remains, eternal, shining for those who come after, seekers yet to rise. Its spears of light stand as beacons, guiding hearts toward wisdom, clarity, and belonging. The wind stirs gently, carrying the song of rivers, groves, and voices into the morning air. The seeker smiles, knowing they are not alone, for the world itself walks beside them. Every lesson flows within, every silence hums softly, every echo continues without end. The journey continues, not with urgency, but with harmony, as life unfolds with each step. And so the eternal spear throne shines on, not as an ending, but as a beginning. Its light will always remain, waiting for every seeker who dares to listen and walk true. The seeker disappears into the dawn, yet their presence lingers in the harmony they leave behind. The story ends not with a final word, but with the silence that carries everything within it. For the throne of Athena is eternal, and so too is the journey of every heart that seeks.